Have you ever had a relationship with someone, most likely a toxic relationship with someone, who said things such as this? I never said that. I did that because I care about you, because I love you. I don't know why you're making such a big deal about this. You're being overly sensitive. You're being dramatic. You're the problem, not me. If you loved me, you would. You're crazy. You're being delusional. You're just insecure. You're so selfish if you don't do this for me. You're imagining things, you're making it up. You made me do that. You don't really feel that way. That never happened. It's not that big of a deal. You're just being paranoid. So the words toxic, the idea of toxic people, narcissism, I never used it, like I never heard these terms before. The more I talk to people, the more I realize these toxic narcissistic traits are becoming like really pervasive in our world. So I would imagine you can think of someone in your life who likes to handle things this way. So let's give an official definition of narcissism here. Self-centered personality style characterized as having an excessive preoccupation with oneself and one's own needs, often at the expense of others. So here's some more tendencies of people who have narcissistic traits. Gaslighting in particular, shifting blame to other people, denying the truth, minimizing someone else's needs, constant disapproval, using love as an excuse for doing something they probably shouldn't be doing, invalidating people's emotions, withholding information, accusations of paranoia, constant criticism. So why am I bringing this up? It has occurred to me we have a massive battle of narcissism going on in front of us. Yesterday or the day before, I talked about how a very few number of people own all of the vast majority of the information that you and I receive, that literally like 6 companies or maybe a few more than that own almost all of the places we get our information. So if those people are telling the same story, it can become truth even if it's not truth. While here was my excellent illustration, there are like thousands and thousands of smaller voices also telling one story, but it's a story that's very different from these large voices coming from these companies that own the vast majority of the media. Abraham Lincoln, arguably our greatest president of all time, said in a speech at one point during his presidency, "Shall we expect some transatlantic military giant to step the ocean and crush us at a blow? Never. All the armies of Europe, Asia, and Africa combined with all the treasure of the earth in their military chest, with a Bonaparte for a commander, could not by force take a drink from the Ohio or make a track on the Blue Ridge in a trial of 1,000 years. At what point then is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reach us, it must spring up amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we must ourselves be its author and its finisher. As a nation of free men, we must live through all time or die by suicide." These presidents of days gone by, they spoke in a way that we may have a hard time understanding what they're saying. What is he saying? Is another enemy, is another country going to come and destroy us? No. If we are to be destroyed, it is going to come from within. So if that enemy is coming from within, what is it going to look like? Is it going to look like a big, dark, scary monster in scary clothes with fire coming out of its mouth? No, it is going to come as something very much disguised. And sometimes we like to disguise ourselves with things like shifting blame, denying the truth, using love and progress and rights and education as an excuse, invalidating emotions, withholding information, accusations of paranoia. Friends, I urge you to make sure you're listening to small, independent news sources. Look some up on your phone. Got some on my website. I post a lot of resources there. I'll give that to you in a minute. But do the big guys often have our best interest in mind? In a lot of cases, no. I am so very thankful for those big guys in our midst, the big ones who have lots of money, who are standing up for us. Thank goodness for them. But most of these big guys, these huge corporations, these huge companies, billionaires that own our media companies, like, do they have the same interests as us? You make that decision for yourself. We have to be getting our information from a variety of places, including some owned by small people. You know what I realized the other day? I love when I can see news reported by people who I can associate with, like people who I feel like are probably kind of like me in their normal lives. Like, they're not rich, they're not famous, they're people who I can tell care about our country and care about reporting accurate news and care about getting the truth out there. Is your news reported by someone that you can associate with, that you think might have a life kind of like you and have the same interests as you? If not, we need to be finding different news sources. I'm not saying turn off your current ones, but let's add some others to the mix. And then when we start realizing we're hearing different stories, we have to make sense of that somehow. Friends, the big voices are loud. We may think we're not going to be able to overcome the lies and the mistruths and the gaslighting and the denying and all of these things, but we can. We need to turn to the Lord, who blessed us with this country, who blessed us with a system of government where we have the power, we have the right to speak, we have the right to stand up. But we must do these things, because when we're sitting in silence in our homes, fuming or complaining or whatever, or praying or whatever we're doing, yeah, that's one way of handling it. But we have to do more than that at this point in time. Visit my website, handmakewithlove.com/take a stand, for some resources for some of the issues that I think are most important. We have to start talking to each other, and talking in a way that we can try to communicate with those that you know, like they're not going to listen to you or whatever because they're listening to one news source that's very much telling them things that may or may not be true. We have to start doing something, friends. Join me in praying for our country. We have the Lord on our side, and sometimes things seem impossible, but He can do anything. We just have to turn to Him.